Good morning, folks. Boy, another beautiful Sunday. The weather's around here has been amazing. I hope that you are enjoying this kind of weather. It is cool. It is beautiful. We went to an Oktoberfest fair yesterday. Um, Coffee's amazing. We've got football coming up. This is going to be an amazing Sunday. I hope yours is as good as mine. So let's get into it. Good morning, folks. Looks like it's going to be another full day. I truly hope that your day is going to be as good as mine. I've got family, I've got friends. It's going to be a wonderful day. I really hope yours is going to be as good as mine. We do have a bit of news that we've got to talk about that's just insane here in the state of Texas. Last night about 7:30, because Texas, and because we have ridiculous gun laws that allow you to pack, carry concealed weapons. Hell, you can carry a weapon on your hip unconcealed at the state fair of Texas, because I don't know, corn dogs and guns. I don't get it. I wish, we've got one of the smartest audiences in the world here. I wish one of you could please educate me, um, as to why it's a good idea to allow guns into your state fair. But last night we had what you would expect in a situation where you've got guns everywhere. We had what looks like a beef starting out in the food court, ended up in a shootout.
What is happening? What is happening?
Looked like we had a dispute between two people, got heated. One person pulled out a gun, opened fire. Three people were injured. Thank God no one was killed. They were rushed to area hospitals where they're in stable condition. We don't yet have information on the shooter. We don't know who he was or exactly what caused everything to explode, but it did. What we do know is that situations like this, can you imagine? I want you to imagine being this guy at the Texas State Fair. We have massive, we have a massive Ferris wheel. It's just fixed and in place all the time there. Imagine being stuck up there and watching this, realizing that all hell's broken loose. Because, Texas, I don't understand homosexuals. I really don't. I don't understand the whole, "I've gotta go everywhere, I've gotta be armed everywhere." I don't understand why people can't understand that when you're armed, you're stupid. You're just stupid. I don't care if you're the most stable, calm person in the universe. Having a weapon on you, a deadly weapon on you, changes your perspective. It changes how you handle situations. Situations that you would just walk away from. People tend to get mouthy because they're carrying a weapon. Situations get escalated because they're carrying a weapon. It's just stupid. It's ignorant. I say the same thing over and over and over again. We're too irresponsible of people to have guns in public. I love hunting. I love shooting. Just shooting. It's fun. Just shooting. I've got a range out back on the property where I like to shoot. It's literally off the cussing pond, folks. I have a table that I set up at the cussing pond. It goes downhill so that all the bullets travel downhill into the ground and don't carry over to my neighbor's property because, hey, responsibility, right? I set up a target downhill. There's a valley that on my property comes back up. So the neighbors, their cows don't catch a ricochet, or my neighbors don't catch a ricochet. I enjoy shooting. I do. It's fun, but I don't pack in public. I don't carry weapons in public. It's just stupid. People don't think right when they have a deadly weapon in their pocket. There's no way to sort out, you know, assholes. There just aren't on a gun permit. We've got to look at this as just the reality of the situation. I mean, I really want this to be the biggest roundtable discussion we've ever had. So as I talk about these things, if you have different points of view or points you want to make, get them out in the comments. I mean, you do. And anybody that tells you don't is a liar. When you got a gun in your pocket, you behave differently. Typically when somebody starts acting crazy or being a jerk, people move away from it. People move away from it. They do. If somebody's being abusive, people might step in, but for the most part, people move away from those situations. They get de-escalated. But man, when you got people with guns in their pockets, I can handle this. I can handle this. Thought starts seeping in there. And the next thing you know, we got bullets flying. And bullets aren't smart people. They don't know that they're just supposed to go to their target. They don't. I mean, the most righteous shooting in the world. The police train, know your background. They do. They train, know what's behind what you're shooting because your bullet is going to go through your target. Tell me your average jackhole on the street is giving any thought to that when they're in their heated situation in the food court at the Texas State Fair. I guarantee you at least one of those three people that were injured were not the intended target. Chris, I appreciate you. Sometimes I make fun of gun toters in places where I leave my doors unlocked, Me too, man. Me too. I we live, people act like, oh, America is so dangerous, this, that, and the other. It's not. It's not a dangerous place. If you take the amosexuals out of the equation, it's not a dangerous place. We have one of the safest places on earth to live if you take the amosexuals out of it. Don't need to start. Yes, it is easy. It is very easy to miss your target, especially, it's one thing you get all these yahoos that go out and they go to the shooting range and they're sitting still. They're shooting at a target that's sitting still. They're unemotional. Bullets aren't coming back at you. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why these people have way too damn much confidence in their skills. Police train all the time and they screw up. They screw up. It is what it is. And they train. Imagine how, I mean, just there's no such thing as a freaking hero, man. They're just not. This delusion the NRA sells about, you're going to be a hero, you're going to save the day, you're going to come home and or somebody's going to break into your house and you're going to be able to defend yourself. Well, no. That's the rarest of unicorns. It's the rarest of unicorns that a home invasion happens. That's pretty damn rare. But you're snoring away. Shoot, my dog's got to work to wake me up. And when I wake up, I'm fuzzy. I'm not really awake. Somebody's breaking into your house. Yeah, they got the drop on you. They do. I mean, you're not going to come out of your bed, reach over into your nightstand, grab your weapon, and just save the day. It's not going to happen, folks. It's not real. I remember watching a video from the NRA. I shouldn't laugh. But it was so ridiculously funny. It was at one of these NRA conventions that they had. It was at a booth. They were showing this guy at an ATM. While he's at the ATM, a guy walks up behind him and cracks him with a baseball bat. And the guy falls to the ground, reaches in and pulls his concealed weapon out and shoots the guy. It's all mock. But I thought, this is the most ridiculous shit I have ever seen. Do you know what happens to you if you're at an ATM and somebody walks up behind you and cracks you in the head with a baseball bat? Number one, most of us, we die. Number two, yeah, you lose control of your faculties. When you rattle somebody's brain in their skull, yeah, they're not going to hit the ground in combat mode. They don't. I mean, realistically, yeah, exactly. Hospital or death, Amy Magginson says, I'm so sick of the gun violence. I've been looking for another country to relocate to because it's so unnerving. We're going to talk about relocating here later on. It's in our Israel segment. It's just something. It's unreal to me. I don't mean to go on a tirade or a boring rant or whatever, but I'm very much enjoying your comments and realizing that no, I'm not a lone unicorn out in the field that understands this. I mean, I am beginning to wonder that we've got like heavy metal poisoning throughout our population, and most people out there aren't smart enough. You people really make me feel much better about humanity knowing that you're out there. But yeah, so that's Texas today. We've got a little update as to what's going on in Ukraine. Remember, there was a big push. There was a huge push in in the Donetsk region in Ukraine. Give me 1 second. There we go. We've got reports coming out of Avdiivka that the Russians' push has just completely failed. There's been another one they launched about an hour ago. It's their 17th or 18th wave They're just throwing soldiers to their deaths. They've lost well over 100 tanks and armored personnel carriers, thousands of soldiers. Um, it's just insane. I was just watching a video from the Ukrainian commander in the region. You can just tell he's so comfortable. He's so relaxed. I mean, you can tell who's winning and who's losing when they do interviews. The people that are losing are very serious and very upset and very, this guy's just, this is stupid. He just keeps saying the Russians should have seen this. They learned in the outset of the war that this tactic is stupid. They stopped doing it for a while, and now they're doing it again. And it's just stupid. We're just mowing them down. We have the advantage. I mean, he's just matter of factly explaining why they're just absolutely disintegrating Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. And I guess it's working to a degree in that they've had to move resources from the southern offensive in Ukraine up to the Donetsk region, just to make sure that they don't get overrun. But other than slowing down an inevitable offensive, it's just it's insane. Yeah, they've lost 286,000 plus people. There's different numbers that keep coming out, but they're all in that factor. The Russians just I mean, it's like they had a generation to lose or something. I mean, you need to think about that. Predominantly males. I mean, you just pull out, a third of a million of your young males out of the population, gone forever, and then you've got another million plus that are injured. This is insane. It's just insane, and I don't know what it's going to take for folks in Russia, because people say that, well, the people in Russia need to rise up, and the people in Russia, that's not how it works. You know that. You know that. I mean, if you think of that, that's wanting, and I want it too, but it's not going to happen. People in Russia are going to support Russia. That's what they do until so many have lost that they're just at the point we don't want to do this anymore. It's really thinking people in power that realize that actually foment the change. You know, it's just it's just a tragedy watching unfold. Russia can't win here. They can't win. The Ukrainians will not be held. We learned that lesson in Vietnam. You can try and try and try and try and offer a better life, a better way out, a better, no. People are going to support who they support, and that's it. That's what's going to happen. And it's and Winston, good point, Winston. The Bolsheviks managed to overthrow the Russian government in World War One, but you have to. That was the people. That was the people wanting it to happen. They don't want that in Russia right now. They don't want a revolution. And way too many believe Putin. Well, we've got some good news out of Gaza. This is the El Arish Airport. It's in the Sinai Desert in Egypt. Go to the map. I just want you to understand the location. This is the El Arish Airport in the Sinai in Egypt. And this is Rafah, the city in Egypt. And of course, Gaza. We have had aid flights that have started to land in El Arish. And Anthony Blinken, our Secretary of State, has been working with Egypt. The problem is, folks, and you know me, I call this region the Sea of Lies. I call it the Sea of Lies because everybody's a damn liar in this situation. Everybody is a damn liar in this situation. We've got Egypt that their president, eh, he's saying it out loud. No Palestinians. It's not happening. We're not allowing the Palestinians into our country. Israel on the other side is saying, no Palestinians out, no aid in. You're doing this. And then on the other, I mean, you've got, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is the president of Egypt. You remember the coup he had back in 2014. They've been very clear. One of the most powerful members of the Egyptian parliament, Mustafa Bakri, is just said the quiet part out loud. He said, we can't allow that. We're going to oppose the Palestinians coming into Egypt at all, because basically what he's saying is the Palestinians are squatters. And if they come in, this was part of original Palestine. If we let them in here, they're going to claim this land as theirs too. And we're not giving up any Egyptian land to the Palestinians. It's just not happening. And so we're stuck in the situation with Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden trying desperately to broker a deal to get aid into Gaza. And the Israelis on the other end are saying, look, we're tired of holding this bag. 80% of the land that was Palestine went to you guys, went to Arab states, not Israel. It went to Arab states. You people will have ownership in this situation. Just some of what's coming out of Reuters. Just to confirm what I'm telling you. Yeah, there more and more aid is coming into Egypt, but it's stuck in Egypt, folks. It's stuck in Egypt right now. We are desperately trying to work out a situation where both sides will allow that aid to flow. Meanwhile, we've got the battle for hearts and minds going on. And this is a very, 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 very popular talking point. 50% of the Palestine population are children. That is true. That is 100% true. Let me play you something that's circulating. This is actually from my friend Boston Smalls. He's also played this video. And it just gives you an idea of what's going on, what people are thinking and feeling. This is a Jewish young man.
You want me to support?
All right, here we go. You ready?
You want me to support Israel? My Israel? Fuck no, never, absolutely not. Ew, disgusting. Israel. We're talking about the same Israel? My Israel? It's my Israel, by the way. It's mine. I own it. You see, it's my birthright. For those of you who don't know, because I was born a Jewish man, I own the land of Palestine and Israel. It is my fucking blood right. That's not me saying that. That's the state of Israel, by the way. They told me, hey man, because you're technically a Jew, Israel's yours. It's always been yours. Come on down. Come see the homeland. This is me being
He's not wrong about that. He is not wrong about that. You see the propaganda coming out of Gaza that is, well, it's nonsense. Because it is the Sea of Lies. Everybody's lying. But what he's saying here is absolutely true. The Israelis teach their children that this land is theirs. Because if you go all the way back into history, the tribes of the Bible, the Jewish folks took this land. It was their land. They kept it. Then you get the varying empires that pass through. You have the kingdom of Judea that was followed the Seleucid Empire. That's Alexander the Great, by the way, and the Macedonians that controlled the area. then Judea was dissolved by the Roman Empire because the Romans are like, you people are ungovernable. So Rome created Palestine and basically ruled it with an iron fist because, hey, these people are ungovernable is what everybody keeps saying. Then the Ottoman Empire came in and they took over the region. If you don't know what the Ottoman Empire is, it's the Turks. It's the Turkish people. They once had a massive empire that spread across from Europe down through the Arabian Peninsula. And they said, you people are ungovernable. It's got to be Turkish land now. And then we have the Balfour Accords, and the British came in and took the land from the Ottomans after World War I. And they said, okay, we're going to try to break this up to where everybody will be happy. And of course, everybody was miserable. It was, by the way, what the British did was the two-state solution. It was. There were Arab states and Jewish states, and Jerusalem was international. And the day that went into effect, the Arabs attacked. They did not want a two-state solution back then. They wanted this to be all Arab land, going back to the Arab Revolution. Pick a point in history. Depending on which side you're on and which people you are, you can pick a point in history to prove your point. And that's what this guy's talking about. What the Israelis tell their people. They own this land. It's their birthright. Back to it.
Being a dick, this is the state of Israel literally saying this to me. If you are a Jewish person, they offer you what's called birthright. Birthright, the opportunity to come to Israel for free on the Israeli dime and see Israel. It's a timeshare pitch. It's a fucking timeshare pitch. They want you to come see the city, dance in Tel Aviv, eat some kebabs, kick some Palestinians out of their homes, and then they'll try and get you to.
Okay. What he's talking about, he's kind of talking about it like he lowers his voice and leans in, like this is kind of a secret. It's not a secret. Israel has a brain drain. They have had for a long time. You know why? Israel is surrounded by countries that want to destroy us. There are terrorist attacks in Israel all the frickin' time. They're losing population. So they came up with a program that said, hey, we'll reach out to Jewish communities throughout the world, invite you to come to Israel, take a look at it, show you a good time, and ask you to move here. It's not a timeshare scam. It is literally the government trying to increase their population. But hey, everybody's got feels and feelings, right? This is what he feels it is. That's what he feels it is.
You to move there. And they'll do it like this pitch, like it's family, it's unity, it's an Israeli homeland. Nah, guys, it's an apartheid state. It's the greatest shame of the Jewish people. It's disgusting. You want me to condemn terrorists? Easy. I condemn the state of Israel and I condemn Hamas, the terrorist organization supported by the state of Israel. That was fucking easy. Hamas is a puppet of Israel, guys. It was founded by Israel. It was.
Yeah, Hamas is not a puppet of Israel. There's a lot of misinformation going around here. They're just Hamas is. Does anybody in the comments believe that Hamas is a puppet of Israel? I mean, really, this is a wildly popular video because this is a Jewish young man and his beliefs. And I'm going to tell you, Israel has lost the war of public opinion on this. There are protests all throughout the world full of people that absolutely believe what this young man is saying. And I'll tell you, he has some great points. I'm gonna point it out here.
It was funded by Israel with the sole intention of destabilizing Palestine because it's really fucking hard for your country to get its shit together when.
Now, do you really believe? I want to know, do you really believe that Israel funded Hamas just to destabilize the Palestinians? I mean, really? Because a lot of people do. I'm not kidding. A lot of people do. There's a lot of really crazy talk. This is some of it.
When the one political party being funded by your fucking enemy is Islamic terrorists, all right? And that's literally the explicit strategy of the Israeli government. All right. So yeah,
That is not the explicit strategy of the Israeli government to prop up Hamas. That is just a lie. Again, a very well believed lie, but a lie. That's why I call it the sea of lies. Everybody that talks has lies.
I denounce terrorism in all forms. I denounce the baby killers, the Israeli state who is bombing a city full of children right now. Gaza's mostly kids, guys. 65% of the population is under 24. Half of them are under 18. It is a fucking city of kids. Every time on CNN or MSNBC, every fucking shit show you're watching, in order to see all these kids get killed, every time they list the dead Gazans, half of it's just kids. That's the fucking math.
Truth. Absolute truth. What he just spit out there is truth. Gaza is mostly children. It is. Hamas, I saw a meme. It was called Hamas body armor, and it was kids strapped all over a bulletproof vest. That's what Hamas does. That's what they do. They use the Palestinian people and children as human shields. They do. Hamas is, Gaza is mostly children. And damn it, when the Israelis move into Gaza, children are going to get hurt and killed. It is. They are. There's no way around that. Fact. That is fact. Like I said, what this guy just said there about Gaza being full of children is absolutely true.
Half of it's just kids. You want me to condemn savagery and barbarism? Fucking easily. Who's the savages? Who's the savages? The people living in the open air prison who are revolting, or the people running the open air prison and carpet bombing children?
Now, open air prison, that's a really common one that you're going to see a lot. What this guy doesn't know, obviously, is that a lot of Palestinians were actually moved to safety into Israel. Yeah. The Egyptians won't let them in. The Israelis are allowing some Palestinians into Israel, moving them. There are Arab towns in northern Israel. They're moving people from Gaza to these Arab towns. That's actually happened. Not enough. Not enough Palestinians are being moved to safety. Don't get me wrong. Don't read into what I say there. But what this guy just said is not true.
We are not judged by how well we take care of ourselves. We are judged by how we take care of our brothers. And the Israelis have taken their brother and treated him like a dog and beaten him and caged him in water and shelter and love. And now when the dog lashes out in violence and anger because the dog knows it's about to fucking die, they then use it as justification to kill their fucking brother. And when the Lord returns, it will look to the children of Israel and he will ask them, where is your brother? Do I support Israel? Fuck no, never. Fuck no, never.
So I'm going to ask you, as he said, does he support Israel? Fuck no, never. Does Israel have a right to exist? I'm asking you, the audience, does Israel have a right to exist? That's not writing off. That is not writing off what Israel right now has cut off food, fuel, and electricity, medication, everything to Gaza. I am not saying if you say Israel has a right to exist, that's all cool. No, that's not what I'm saying. Does Israel have a right to exist? I'm watching this and I'm catching hell from everybody. I'm losing audience share because my moniker is Texas Paul, merchant of hard truths. And the hard truths are never comfortable and it's not what you want to hear. But here's my next question. Should Hamas be allowed to stay in Gaza? I'm asking you that as a impromptu poll I am taking with the audience. should Hamas be allowed to stay in Gaza? I took this poll on a couple other social media platforms, and overwhelmingly the answer is something along the lines of no, absolutely not. But we don't want the Palestinians hurt. I get that. I do. I'm with you. But how do you separate Hamas, tens of thousands of Hamas fighters, from the Palestinian people? You can't. Hamas they're victimizing the Palestinians themselves. They're not allowing them to leave. That's part of the fighting that's been going on down in the Rafah Gate. Propaganda. The Israelis are bombing the Rafah Gate so the Palestinians can't leave. No, the Israelis desperately want the Palestinians to go out that Rafah Gate because they are tired of holding this bag. They want Arab states to be in this. They don't want to be the only people having the debate. 20% of what was Palestine went to Israel. The other 80% went to Jordan. And we're not having the debate. Right now you've got the Israelis need to give up their land to Palestine. Nobody is having the debate about Jordan giving up its land. Let me tell you what the king of Jordan just said. I told you what Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has said about no Palestinians here. Here's what the king of Jordan just said at the opening of the Jordanian parliament. And by the way, Palestinians make up the majority of the population in Jordan and have almost no representation in parliament. Almost none. There's a token couple of MPs in the Jordanian parliament. So you've got all right, there we go. There it is. Let me pull it up for you. So that you know that I'm actually quoting here. This is from Reuters. Jordan's king says no stability in the region without a Palestinian state. Great. I think you, as well as I, want the Palestinians to have their own state. I argued for that all the way up to October 6th, in which I quit. I threw my hands up. I did. Because on October 7th, they slaughtered civilians in Israel. And I felt like I needed to step away. But here's what the Jordan's King Hussein says at the opening of their parliament. The latest violence which broke out when Hamas militants assaulted Israel at the weekend, hey, he's calling it out. Good for him. Showed the region would not, quote, enjoy stability, security, or peace, unquote, without a sovereign Palestinian state on the land that Israel had captured in the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. That's a pretty big caveat right there, don't you think, folks? That's a pretty big caveat to put out there. The Arabs attacked Israel. Israel fought back, took land in that war. Jordan no longer has control of that land that they lost in the war. But that's the land that's necessary for a Palestinian state, according to the king of Jordan. I got an idea. Let's create a Palestinian state in the West Bank like he claims. But let's give them also land out of Jordan, which was the majority of Palestine. I'll be honest with you. The majority of people living in Israel really do want to work something out. They really do. They just want it to be fair. because every Arab state in the region and everybody that represents the Palestinian people and provide the propaganda to the Palestinian people, this is only an Israel problem. Hamas is made up of the Palestinian people. Say what, ask who makes up Hamas. Hamas is made up of young Palestinian fighters. That's who's in Hamas. So yeah, I mean, I'm asking you, the smartest audience there is. You folks are on it. You are on it. Say what, ask who's funding Hamas. Another great question. Stories are coming out on how Hamas has been flooded with $95 million worth of cryptocurrency since they invaded Israel. And it comes from all over the world. It comes from the racists here. You know, our billionaire with his Nazi memorabilia collection, you know, things like that. You have Jewish hating people all over the world, from the United States to Russia. Yes, Russia. See, this is why I love you people. This is why I love you people. Yeah, I don't have to start at zero. You know. Junie Rude says Iran and Russia. Yeah. And Iran loves the stability. No one would love another Arab-Israeli war like Iran. Because you have to understand, Iran is Persian. They're not Arabs. They're Muslim. They are. But the Muslim world is divided amongst Shia and Sunni, and most of the people around it, you know, one team versus another team. Iran would love another Arab-Israeli war. They win if there's another Arab-Israeli war. So yeah, let's talk about it the way it is. Israel's freaking brutal. They are. They're freaking brutal. They're not playing games with this at all. The first thing they did in Gaza, which yes is full of children, is cut off the water. They cut off the electricity. They cut off the fuel. That's brutal. That is freaking brutal. But they're saying their point of view is there are tens of thousands of Hamas fighters there. We can't attack them and pull their resources until, you know, and separate that from the Palestinian people. There's no way to do it. Can you put that come back up? I was getting to it. Leave them up till I can get to them, please. KCuz says Putin is enjoying this chaos as well, Texas Paul. It helps take away attention from Ukraine. Yes, thank you for putting that up. I have been screaming this forever. I have been screaming this forever. Thank you, Tabby. I love this. I love this one too. We're doing the seasonal mugs. I love this one too. Thank you. So here's the question. And I have a suggestion which nobody's going to like, but I want to hear from you folks. I want this to be roundtabled out. We know there are tunnels under Gaza that have to be destroyed. Israel is determined that those tunnels go, because right now Israel doesn't allow aid in through Egypt because they're like, well, we're trying to control the weapons and flow of weapons and Hamas fighters in from Egypt. So we control everything there. That's failed. To me, that needs to stop immediately. You're not stopping the flow of weapons. You just aren't. But on the other end of it, this tunnel system, do you agree that the tunnel system and bunker system that Hamas has built under Gaza needs to go? It must be destroyed. Yeah, the exact same argument I've been making. People like to say I'm anti-Palestine. I'm not. I've been arguing this very point this very point and showing images. If you go back and look of Palestinians climbing over and under and doing everything they can, that wall was stupid. It was stupid. They don't work. And it's not going to work at our southern border either. So do we agree though that the Hamas's infrastructure needs to go? The tunnel system they built under Gaza has to be destroyed. And if we agree on that, then we're left with the situation. How the hell do you get Merkava tanks and Israeli helicopters? You know, right now people are just Israel's lost the war for public opinion. They have. Hamas fires rockets, Israel destroys that building that the rockets came from. The corporate media, social media, they call me a bigot, they call me a racist because I'm like, no, that was a straight up valid attack. And everybody else is like, oh no, you've killed the children. And I don't know, how do you kill Hamas who keeps the children around them without killing the children? Or do you just allow, here's the next question. Do we just allow Hamas to keep attacking Israel? I mean, do we? Is that the answer? Hamas just gets to keep attacking Israel. I mean, and let's play the other question. Let's say we give all of Israel, we withdraw all our support from Israel. We let this next decade of horrific deaths and war crimes happen, and eventually the Arabs overwhelm and take Israel, and it becomes an Arab state. What do you think they do with the Jewish people in the region? Do you think they respect any of their claim to the land going back to the beginning of humanity? Or do they just murder them all? I mean, really, there are Jewish people that live in Iran, folks. There are Jewish people in every Arab country there is in the Middle East. I mean, it's, I mean, do they just suddenly adopt them into their populations and say, oh, you can be citizens here? I mean, if we're going to do what ifs and we're going to just pick periods in time, that's got to be a what if. What if Israel falls? What does that look like? Because folks, right now, Israel has lost the battle for public opinion because none of us want babies killed, Palestinian, Israeli, or otherwise. And we're hopefully coming to understand that this war is going to be brutal on the children because, well, Hamas figured out, hide with the kids and the people will scream for you. Well, just an update. This isn't isolated to Gaza anymore, folks. Hezbollah, which is from Lebanon, these are Lebanese people. They're not Palestinians fighting in Hamas. These are Lebanese fighting in Hezbollah, have been stepping up their cross-border attacks. They're attacking inside Israel. And they have assaulted military establishments. I'm not going to play this video. I'm just going to show you that it exists. Hezbollah used an Iranian anti-tank missile because Iran, of course, gives Hezbollah and Hamas advanced weaponry. And they took out a Merkava tank in Israel. And of course, they are abusing the tank crew that survived the attack. They ripped them out of the tank and dragged them around the ground, and they're going to beat those people. I mean, they attacked them. They attacked a freaking Merkava tank. They've actually attacked a couple now. They've attacked a military base inside Israel, just like Hamas did. This is expanding. You have MPs in Iraq, in the Iraqi parliament, that are trying to invoke the Arab Defense Clause, which is like Arab NATO, trying to get Iraq's official position to be to ask all Arab nations to attack Israel. And of course, Israel is responding, and now they are hitting targets in Lebanon, where they, claim that just like you see videos of the Hamas rockets leaving a building, and then the the Israeli artillery coming in and Israeli missiles coming in and hitting the buildings. They're doing the same thing in northern Lebanon, which of course, collateral damage. This is expanding. The question is, what do we do? I mean, what do we do? I'm looking for you folks to have answers. Yes, the Middle East sucks. It sucks. Here in the States, you've got people like this guy. This guy has 750,000 followers. I need you folks to step up your game with my social media. This guy has 750,000 followers. Guy by the name of Jackson Hinkle. He's gone on Tucker Carlson's internet show. He says, if Israel claims to be just fighting Hamas, why are they bombing Lebanon and Syria? They are trying to provoke an Arab conflict. No, Hezbollah is firing at them across the border, but you have this kind of propaganda, which isn't true. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can criticize Israel for what they do, but don't make shit up. I mean, it's bad enough. The reality is it's bad enough. You don't have to make shit up. And yes, Hinkle is pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine. He is a propagandist, 100%. So yeah, he's attacking Israel, and it's spreading, man. This guy's got 750,000 followers on Twitter alone, and they're not telling people the truth. So I'm asking you, I'm asking you, one, am I being fair? Am I being fair? Because I'm just telling you, in my eyes, I'm just telling you things that are going on. Linda Blanton, I appreciate your support. I really do. Keeps the bills paid around here. And two, thank you for bringing this up. Hamas is posting Trump's speech praising Hezbollah on their social media. Also, there's evidence that Wagner helped train Hamas. Russia heard on the videos. He's talking about the videos that Hamas themselves are posting on their social media. This is really going on, folks. On one hand, you have Hamas that posts horrific things like their treatment of those Israeli soldiers that were, they destroyed a tank in Israel near a military base in northern Israel. They are spreading that video. And then in other videos, they claim they're nothing but the victims. The Israelis are the aggressors, and they're just killing babies. And then you have the right wing in our country, which is full of white supremacists and anti-Semites, that thinks the Jews are in a global conspiracy. Globalism. Remember, that's all you used to hear. Globalism. Are in a global conspiracy to run the world and keep the white man down. Spreading videos all over. It's a shitstorm, folks. It is a real shitstorm. So I'm asking you, do your part. Spread this video. Hit the subscribe button. And I'll ask you again, am I being fair? Do you feel like I'm bullshitting you or screwing you? Or, Roy says, stay focused on winning elections so we can keep assisting our allies. Amen, brother. Amen. Amen. That's what this is doing. They're revitalizing the right. The right. It's distracting from the absolute chaos that's going on here, which is the next thing I want to talk about. Is what's going on in the House of Representatives. Jim Jordan broke their agreement and stabbed Steve Scalise in the back, causing him to withdraw, which I'm glad he did. Steve Scalise is a raging racist. He did actually call himself David Duke without the baggage. He was an awful guy. I'm glad he went down, but the deal was that they weren't going to attack each other and they were going to allow a fair vote. And then, of course, Jim Jordan's chaos caucus. Thanks, Tamara. I appreciate the support. I really do. And Trina Lang says Israel has a right to exist. Gaza has, over many years, received tons of money. Unfortunately, yeah, a lot of those buildings you're seeing destroyed, we paid to build. Unfortunately, the leadership have always been corrupt, so the people got zero. Their leaders have lived in great luxury. That is true. Hamas, the leadership of Hamas are multimillionaires. One of the first things that they attacked in Gaza was the property of Hamas leaders. They own the leaders of Hamas own. Try buying an apartment in Paris, folks. Go shopping, go to realtor.com. Go try to buy an apartment in Paris. They all own apartments in Paris. They all own apartments in London. They are uber wealthy people. That's a fact. And it does not trickle down to the Palestinian people. It just doesn't. But back to what I was talking about here in the United States. This is to distract from what's going on here. You have Jordan that attacked Scalise, shot him in the butt. Now Scalise is shooting Jordan in the butt because Scalise supporters have said that if Jim Jordan comes for a vote on the floor, they won't show up. And you're like, well, what the hell? Why is that an attack on Jordan if the people that will vote against him won't show up? That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You know why? Because that makes Hakeem Jeffries the speaker. Because the Democrats are going to vote down the line for Hakeem Jeffries. If I believe it's 10 Republicans don't show up, that reduces the number required to select the speaker down to the point where Hakeem Jeffries wins. And I think that is a beautiful, brilliant tactic. I don't like Republicans, but I got to recognize good politics when I see it, because that's these Republicans saying they're not voting for a Democrat, which would be suicide in the Republican caucus. They're just saying we won't show up and you'll lose. I thought that was just amazing. I thought that was just brilliant politics. Kind of like football. I've got my teams I root for, but I love good football. So I will watch other teams because they're really playing well. The same thing with the Republicans. I despise those some bitches. And on politics and policy, they're sorry, horrible human beings, and we need to vote them out of existence. But that was a brilliant move. That's why after nominating Jordan, the Republicans went home. Didn't bring it up for a vote. And Jim Jordan is trying desperately, promising everybody under the sun in the Republican caucus anything he can promise, which isn't worth the paper it's written on, because Jim Jordan is a liar. Everybody just saw him shoot Steve Scalise in the butt and break their agreement. So, yeah, next week's going to be interesting. Next week is going to be interesting. And that's why all of the sudden, all of these right wingers all over social media are stirring up as much emotional crap as they possibly can, saying as much crap as they possibly can, trying to get everybody to look over here instead of what's happening here in our country. Beneloco, I appreciate that. I'll not float on false hope. Action is required. AFK working. I agree with you. That's why I'm telling people. People are like, we only need 5 Republicans to cross over. That's a big ask. That's a big ask because Republicans aren't there to do the right thing for the country. They don't really care about dysfunction. They don't really care. Moderates in the Republican Party don't care if Jim Jordan becomes speaker because it's Jim Jordan and he's crazy. Nah, they're just showing loyalty to their guy right now. That's it. And like I've told people before, and I'm going to say it again, it's not the same for Republicans and Democrats in Congress. One of the first things they do when you're elected as a Democrat is they take you to an office building and they assign you an office and they give you a call list. And you have to phone bank asking people to send you money for your reelection campaign. And they give you a target. Every day you've got to bring this much in to fund your campaign or you're going to lose. Republicans, on the other hand, have the Billionaire Frat Boy Club. And the first thing they do when you're brought in as a Republican is they teach you how to shut up and fall in line. They show you your list of talking points. You say this, we give you these talking points every day. You don't write legislation. We have special interest groups that write our legislation. Democrats, you got people like Katie Porter. You've got people that are like, okay, this is a real problem. This is really going on. We need to introduce legislation to do this. And they work on legislation. They actually have offices filled with people that know how to write legislation. They do. Republicans have offices filled with cousins and friends and people that special interest groups want to have no-show jobs. I mean, hell, Marjorie Trader Green brought Milo Yiannopoulos into her office. And I'm sure you folks know who Milo is. They're not serious. It's two different worlds between Republicans and Democrats. So when you say, man, I want a Republican to do what's right for the country and move across the aisle, that means giving all of that up. They've got you checks, man. They've got people sending you insider information so that you can go in to Congress dirt poor, and 4 years later, you're a multimillionaire on $174,000 a year. When you say, hey, can we get some moderate Republicans across the line? That's really what you're asking. Give up the free checks. Leonard Leo has a check for you. Give that up. You got to give that up. Now you've got to start working, and you got to start making phone calls to people and fundraising, trying to get people to send you money instead of showing up at an event that some special interest group funded as your fundraiser, where you just show up and throw back booze and slap people on the back. No, you got to work for a living now, buddy. That's what you're asking. Boy, folks, can you believe it? An hour's blown by again already. I'm not going to have another show where we don't have a good roundtable on the end. So anything you'd like to continue on, any discussions you'd like to continue on, pretty please. Throw it out there. Throw it out there. Jill Lucas says, who's Milo? Look up Milo Yiannopoulos. It's a train wreck. Just look it up. Young homosexual man that is flamboyant as hell, that has lived under every right-wing talking point that there is. I think the guy's got a mental illness problem. He was the guy that paired up with Kanye when Kanye was spouting all his Nazi stuff. Milo was the guy escorting him around to all the different talk shows so Kanye could destroy himself. Yeah, you just got to Google that. It's a long story. If you want to know who Milo is, look up Milo Yiannopoulos. All right. Cinema in Arizona moved to independent. Yeah, you get this. Fortunately, we got Ruben Gallegos running against her. You've got to support people, folks. You do. You have to support people. We don't have the billionaire frat boy club to write these people checks. They're out there working. You know, it's a turnoff. I'm from that generation. We're talking about money's vulgar. But these people have to. It's the only way they can fight. You know, you've got to support people, good people that are running for office. When you've got a piece of crap like cinema, we've got to help somebody primary. We've got to help these people. And Bridget McKinney, I love that you people are so on top of this stuff. Yeah, Bridget McKinney says Carrie Lake is running too. Yeah, she is. And I hope y'all saw the stunt that she pulled. She was standing in the airport with a piece of luggage trying to act like, oh, she just bumped into Ruben Gallegos in the airport. But she also happened to have a camera crew and security. You see halfway through the video, this big old mountain of a guy steps in, and he's too stupid. He steps in front of the camera. It was her hired security. She was trying to ambush Gallegos into trying to say something embarrassing. Of course, he didn't do it. He's a smart guy. But yeah, I mean, that was hilarious. If it missed you on social media, I'm sorry, but it was a complete clown show. She's standing there with her little piece of luggage, like, oh yeah, I'm really in the airport to take a flight. This isn't a total ambush. No, not at all. I just happened to bump into you with this series of questions and this cameraman. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Guy was handled it. He was friendly. He was affable. I'd like to have seen him be more aggressive, but you know, he knows what an ambush looks like now. Oh, school vouchers in Texas. I have told you there are two guys. They're the main ones, but there are multiple billionaires here in the state of Texas funding this. But the two main guys are guys by the name of, and go back and go, I've done shows on them, Ferris Wilks and Tim Dunn. Google them. They're a couple pastors that became billionaires. And what they're doing is they have bought the Republicans in the Texas legislature. They own them. They got Ken Paxton put back in power. I mean, he was so blatant. This was so easy. He should have been removed from office. This was not hard to understand, the crap that Ken Paxton did. But they wanted to show you and me and everybody the amount of power that they wielded in our Texas legislature, and they got Ken Paxton put back in office. Well, these guys, like Ferris Wilks is a Seventh-day Adventist, and they are, and Tim Dunn is the pastor in another radical ass church. They are just pushing their church down the throats of the people of Texas. And they've come up with this program where they're going to take $8,000 per student per year in a voucher. And you're going to be able to take it to Ferris Wilks's church and go to his church school And the Republicans here aren't going to give a damn whether you get an education or not, but they're going to absolutely starve to death the public schools. And you've got the local Republicans all thinking it's going to be their kid that gets to go to the great school. Yeah, give me $8,000. Oh, your tuition at your school's $30,000? Oh, no. Well, I'll just have to send my kid back to public school. Oh, no. The public school shut down. Now I've got to drive my kid an hour away to another public school. Yeah, that's what's really happening. When you take enough funding out of a public school, there's this assumption here in Texas that's insane that no matter what, we're going to fund the public schools, that they'll be open no matter what. That's not true. If you take enough funding out of a public school, it cannot function. It shuts down. Yeah. Then they sell it. And one of these private schools moves in where you've got no say in the curriculum. They do whatever the hell they want, and Republicans will not govern the situation. And that's what you're left with. But your kid's not bright enough, or you're a Democrat, or you're anything that they don't like. You don't want to preach to your kid the Bible. Oh no, you don't get to go here. No, freedom of religion, man. Take your kid an hour down the road to the school that's still open. Yeah, that's what's happened here in the state of Texas, thanks to Republicans. They took the bribes, they took the money, and now they're screwing kids. That's what Republicans are, folks. And you want to not vote over what's going on in Israel? Because that's what they're hoping. Mr. Knutson, tax the church 90% and put it into the public schools. You know what? I agree with you. It's time to tax the churches. They've gotten so politically involved. It's time to tax the churches. Why are churches not taxed? Patty Perry says, my son is a Marine and he's probably going to Israel. Why? I wish I knew, because we need our troops here at home because we are not immune. Actually, there are no troops going to Israel yet. We've sent some Navy ships to provide support in case other Arab nations try to attack Israel. For the most part, we're just sending arms and money to Israel, supporting their own production of arms. But like they make their own Merkava tanks, they make their own, so yeah, we're not even supporting them like we're supporting Ukraine, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is the kind of discussion that are like, oh no, my kids aren't going to go die for Israel. No, they're not. And this is where I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to end this with what I think we need to do in the Middle East. And it's going to make nobody happy. This is what I think we need to do in the Middle East. I'm out. We got one ally in the Middle East. Don't get caught up in the politics. We fund the state of Israel because they're our ally. Do not put boots on the ground. Do not get involved. Right now, our Secretary of State is running around to every Arab state that he can. Anthony Blinken has been traveling all around the region. He's meeting with Netanyahu. And that just gets us stuck. Hamas wants to fight Israel. Israel wants to fight Hamas. Let them fight. Get the hell out. And everybody's going to say, well, then you want to murder children in Gaza. No, I don't. No, I don't. I wish they weren't. But I'm not going to be there, and I can't save the world. To me, this is just like Vietnam. You cannot force a population to not fight. You had a huge portion of the population that supported the North Vietnamese, and you had a Vietnamese people you could not make want to be free of them. And we wasted men, lives, and money trying to make it happen. That's all that waits for us in this conflict. Israel's our ally. Keep sending them the checks and get the hell out. What happens, happens. Is it a good answer? No. No, because kids die. But we're not killing them. And everybody says, well, if you send a check to Israel, you're killing the babies. No, we're not. No, we're not. Israel's the only country in the region whose population doesn't scream death to America. That's all we're paying for. And that's what I believe needs to happen. The Egyptians are going to screw us. Thanks for the support, Linda and Rolf. I really appreciate it. Keeps everything moving and grooving. Egypt's going to screw us. Jordan is going to screw us. The Turks are going to screw us on this situation. We need our relationship with Turkey right now. We're prying them back away from Russia. We don't need to be in the middle of this situation. It's going to be awful. The Israelis are going to be brutal. The Palestinians are going to pay the price. But we need to make sure we're not doing it. And we need to make sure that we need to quit doing what we're doing right now. You know, we're desperately trying to get Egypt to allow Palestinians in and provide them aid. And they're telling us, no, we're not going to do it. They're telling you the quiet part out loud. If we allow the Palestinians in Egypt, they will squat here, and this was once their land too. Sherry, as always, I appreciate your support. Longtime supporter, thank you. Not much, just dropping a dime. Thanks, Texas Paul. I appreciate you. You know, every little bit helps. I appreciate you, see. I really do. I appreciate you. Tell me what you think. I mean, we've got time. We've got time. I mean, is that really where you're at too, Bobby Bellinger? Stay out of their business, because that's kind of where I'm at. People, they called me a racist for saying this. I mean, they did. They called me a bigot and a racist on social media. I was attacked like crazy because I said, I'm out. I've spent years advocating for Palestine. And the attack on Israel was horrific. I'm tired of it. I don't want to be in it anymore. And in the end, it'll end up with organizations in the Middle East blaming us. Mr. Newton says Hamas uses this to recruit their next generation. That's true. That's true. They're doing it. The Egyptians are doing it also. Their birthright education, mantra. Yeah, the Israelis are doing it too. So what do you think about what I'm saying there? Let's wrap up the roundtable here. We're an hour and 20 in. I'm willing to go an hour to an hour and 30, because I love talking to you folks. Tell me, how do you feel about that when I say that? As awful as everything is, back out and let them fight, is what I'm saying. Ray Crenshaw, thanks for the support. No U.S. jets, no U.S. carriers, no no rocket fire coming from U.S. ships. Let them fight. And know that when I say that, I know that means Israel will be over the top brutal. I know that. Marie Crabtree, I absolutely. There's no recall function for a senator. But yeah, I believe that we need to be working in Georgia to make sure, or pardon me, Alabama, to make sure Tuberville, who doesn't even live in Alabama, he lives in Florida. He's a third Florida senator. Newton says, there's no hope. Let's stay out. So it sounds like you're with me. But I want you to be aware, folks, I've never lied to you, and I will always tell you hard truths. If we get out, the Palestinians are on their own, and they're going to lose. This is going to be bad because the Israelis are, it's true. The Israelis cannot leave Hamas's training camps and infrastructure in place in Gaza. They can't do it. And if your apartment building is over one of the bunkers, when they blow up that bunker, your apartment building's coming down. So when we say stay out, we're saying, yeah, we know that's going to happen. This is something. Thanks for saying that. The Secret Squirrel says your Jordan solution sounds feasible. Yeah, but Jordan won't do it any more than Egypt will. We could carve out an area in southern Israel. The 1948 division, before the Arabs attacked Israel, was a two-state solution with an international zone for Jerusalem. It was. How did you? I appreciate this. Is, by the way, I want to introduce you to. I am begging her to come on the show, and she's making me beg. Heidi Gorman. She is a woman with superpowers. She is what makes the Democratic Party possible. She's amazing, and I'm trying to get her to come on and talk to you folks. And I'm going to win. I'm going to win her over. I am. She's going to come on one day and talk with me. She is an amazing person. She does amazing things, and I do not know where she gets the energy from. I'm going to introduce you to her one day, folks. Peter Campbell says, these subjects are old as time and complex as many people that exist. I'm thankful that you're bringing it up and discussing. I'm telling you, man, it's costing me. I've lost a big chunk of my audience because people have the feels about this. They really do. And a lot of people think they've got a good bead on what's going on. I had people tell me, you need a history lesson. And then I start posting history and they're like, yeah, you're just posting history that benefits your side. I'm like, I don't have a side. There's just what is. There's just what is. I mean, that's it. There's just what is. They want to talk about Palestine, but they don't want to talk about Judea. They don't want to talk about the Romans did there. They sure as hell don't want to talk about the Seleucid Empire, what the Macedonians and Greeks did. They don't want to go back to the original Bible where it was the tribes of Egypt that took they just don't. They just want to talk about their one little section of history that fits their argument and run with it. And Patty, yeah, that's right. Everybody has opinions. They do. They do. But I tell you what, I catch hell when I say, that's not accurate. Terry McHugh says, we can't stop them from doing what they're going to do. We can't get our government to stop fighting. These are governments with their own minds. Absolutely, Tara. Absolutely. And that's the point I'm making now is we have chaos in our own country. We have people that are within the Republican Party itself has become an arm of the Russians. Every subject that comes up, Putin funded this attack in Israel, and the Republicans are absolutely ripping into two camps and fomenting as much emotion and hate on this subject as possible. It's what they're doing to try to keep our country in chaos. And my advice in this situation is this: I'm out. Focus on what's going on at home. That's what I believe we should be doing. Now, that's not a winner of an argument. That's not going to sell a lot of people. Especially young folks aren't going to be inspired by that because they really don't want these kids hurt. And I understand that. I do. I understand it. That means we've got work to do. And when I ask you, please hit the subscribe button. When I ask you to please hit the like button, that's not self-serving, folks. It's not just, let me see what I can get. No, let's get this out so we can get more people in here having these conversations. That's what I'm trying to do. Miss Pam, absolutely. Vote. I'm glad to see you ride or die hearts and skulls there. That's what we have to be, folks. We have to be ride or die Democrats because I've seen a lot of Democrats really pissed off about what's going on in the Middle East. And they're like, I don't support Biden anymore because he's talking to Israel. Well, Biden's talking to everybody. He is talking to everybody. Roy says, do not push Putin propaganda. If you're unsure, ask or educate yourself. That's the problem, man. This is the way propaganda works, is it makes it sound, it appears to be knowledge. Perfect example I gave, I showed a clip on my social media. It's of a beautiful young Palestinian woman who's used as a spokesman. Just there's a myth, a lie, a propaganda lie that it's the goal of Israel to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque so that they can build another temple, the third temple of Jerusalem. And it's a lie. There is no movement. There's some radical extremists in. You're going to hear a lot about Al-Aqsa. Okay, what's brought it up to the forefront is this. I can Cliff's Notes for you this real quick. There was a Palestinian family that got evicted out of Old Jerusalem. A very popular family, a large family, got evicted out of a block in Old Jerusalem for non-payment. That pissed off the Palestinians because they're like, you're just taking our land is all you're doing. So young Palestinian gangs attacked Israelites in Jerusalem. Extremists, there are factions of Israelis that are just ultra orthodox, extreme. I'm talking about people. There's an annual parade of Jesus's crucifixion. These people line up and spit on people, and they form up gangs. So these ultra Orthodox Jewish gangs were also attacking people, and it just got escalated and escalated. The Palestinians, they hit a bunch of rocks in the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount compound. See, the security doesn't allow rocks up there because, no rock throwing. This is a huge flashpoint. It's ultra important to everybody involved. So you had the Palestinians protest at Al-Aqsa. They protested what was going on with the eviction of this family and the violence that was going on with the ultra Orthodox Jews. And the police said, okay, time to close, because there is a closing time for the Temple Mount. There is a closing time where people cannot be up there because it is such a critical area where everybody goes to worship. They tightly regulate it. And the security people were like, okay, it's time to close. You got to go. The mob became violent. They started chunking rocks. A lot of people say that is what was the goal, because where did the rocks come from? They brought the rocks with them. The Israelis opened fire with rubber bullets and started beating the crowd with batons to disperse the crowd. At Al-Aqsa, one of the holiest sites in all of Islam, a group of them went inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque and locked the doors. The Israelis breached the mosque and arrested the people inside. That's the Al-Aqsa bombing that you're going to see a lot of. And yeah, that is the event that Hamas used for justification for invading Israel and murdering Israeli civilians in kibbutz and all the towns in Israel. That's what set all this off. And again, what do? You just let people live without paying their rent? You don't evict anybody? And it's both sides engaged in the violence in Jerusalem? What do? Rioting and violence is okay because it's a holy site? Taking people down in a holy site, is that okay? It's just, again, this is where I'm at. It's a sea of lies. Nobody owns responsibility. Everybody escalates. Why are we here? No, I will not advocate for the Palestinians anymore. Yes, I will support funding for Israel because they're the only is not screaming death to America. That's just political. Do I want boots on the ground? Hell no. Bring the carrier back. Don't get involved. It's chaos. Anyways, folks, we've got an hour and a half. I love talking with you. I hope I've said something that makes a difference. Please, if you agree with me, hit the thumbs up button. Share this. Encourage people on your social media. Hey, you need to hear what this guy has to say because he's really talking. Please put it out there. I do not grow without you. And Reba says, what about Iran? Great question. What do we do? Do we invade Iran? Do we start a war with Iran? That's a great way to galvanize the whole region against us. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one either. Anyways, y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy some sights of some beautiful Texas cities at night. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. Slough all this heavy stuff off. It's beautiful outside. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your people. Do something that makes you smile today. You deserve it and you need it. I love you, folks. This is Old Texas Paul out.